Today's video is going to be a really fun topic because there's a lot of different ways to looking at it. The greatest carry jobs in NBA history. Now, the thing about the word carry is I also feel like it's like the word dominant or dominated. It's kind of overused. But today we're looking at the greatest of the greatest examples. Obviously, nobody can win a championships by themselves. Nobody goes truly 1-on-5. We're not saying they did it completely and utterly by themselves, but there was a disproportional amount of impact from these guys specifically compared to most teams that are competitive. So that's what we're looking at. And I also think it's interesting because we could have got more specific in how we're, looking at these guys and making our picks, because how do you rank like a guy like '06 Kobe, who really did carry his team, but took them to the first round, compared to maybe another guy, like let's just say 2018 LeBron James, who had maybe a little bit more talent on that team, but was able to take them to the NBA Finals. Like, how do you rank those two? How do you compare those two? And so that's what we're going to figure out. So Dario said he wanted to go first on this segment.
Yes.
So, bro, who is your greatest carry in NBA history?
All right. And I know I'm going to get a lot of crap in the comments about this too, because they've already called me like a new guy, like a lover or whatever. So whatever. But I'm going with my boy Jimmy Buckets. He's not that new, but
Okay.
The 2022-2023 season, they obviously had injuries throughout the season. They were probably a better team than what their record showed. But I think they played in the play-in, fought for the 8th seed, right? And then they became the sixth team in NBA history to beat, like 6 8 seed in NBA history to beat the 1 seed, and that was the Milwaukee Bucks, who Jimmy's kind of owned for a while, right? Like they got their revenge the season before Milwaukee in 2022 and beat them, but and swept them actually. So Jimmy got his revenge there, 37-6-5 against almost like a MVP level Giannis and the number 1 seed, right?
And just look at those two closeout games too. Like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. And
Dude,
he
that's
had
what I was gonna say. It's the context of this season that I think is important to add. Like,
exactly.
It wasn't just that they beat them; it was that
he was coming in clutch. He was like closing out games.
Yeah, and it repeatedly happened. The whole that was the thing, was like, even in this era, it was wild to watch a guy single-handedly, especially in this era, honestly.
Yeah.
Where we don't see a lot of hero ball and we don't see a lot of guys single-handedly taking on any teams. Crazy to watch a guy just like put the team on his back. And he did have a lot of good talent on this team and a lot of great shooting, which helped him too.
That's what I was going to say.
But his talent, like, no one thought that was like championship level talent, like at the time. And even now we wouldn't say that. So, so they pretty much controlled that entire series, being the 8th seed.
I remember this game. This game was crazy. 56.
I know he had a game where they threw an alley. He did a late layup to get him back into OT, and then just closed it out. But
it was all
56-9-5. What?
Yeah, everything magical that happened in this series was basically on Jimmy Butler's back, and it felt that way through the whole playoffs.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, and then my thing is like the seeds that they had to face. Like they faced they beat the 1 seed. They went against the 5 seed, and in that, like, it's not like Jimmy had crazy numbers against the Knicks, but like I think he got injured in game 1.
Yeah,
and then
I know he didn't play some of it.
Yeah, he got injured. I think the game that they lost. He got injured game 1, and then game 2 he didn't play. They won. Knicks won that game. He came back game 3. And then just started putting the belt, They went up 3-1 in the series, and then that's it. We were calling it quits, and it showed Jimmy's impact on that team,
He can get his
for sure
numbers.
And then right after that, he faces the Boston Celtics, who at the time is in their 3rd straight conference finals, I think. Obviously they went
still just like. It feels like they make the conference finals or bust every year.
Yeah,
like,
seriously. They went to the NBA finals the year before, right? In 22. And then 2023. And then the next year they win the championship. So this is like that level of team that we're seeing. And he immediately up 3-0 against the Celtics. The craziest part about that, this is like has nothing to do with Jimmy, the Celtics were still favorites even when they went up 3-0. I thought that was insane. Like, I couldn't believe that was the easiest money you could have won from Vegas. And then obviously, like, he just went against like a monster in Joker and the Nuggets. So, but I think what he did in the East with the level of talent, the seeding, he was on the road most of every single playoff series, and he straight up just was a dog and brought it. For the playoffs, he averaged 29. For the Eastern Conference playoffs, he averaged 29, 6 and 7, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, and then for the whole playoffs, he averaged 27, 6 and 6. Like, it was definitely like an elite level, and it made sense why people call him playoff Jimmy. Like,
no, for sure. That's a great pick. I mean, I honestly don't hate it. Even when looking at the complete history, of NBA, like the way he stepped it up in the playoffs, the big moments, considering the level of competition, like, dude, it was like legendary.
And the rivalries too, like, right? Because the Celtics, the Milwaukee, I love that aspect of it too. He has like those rivalries, and that's the story to tell. So
that's all basketball though too. Like they're not coming to give you a hug after the game's over. Like, that's not heat culture. Heat culture is, if I knock you down, I'm not gonna pick you up if you're my guy. Like, that's so they kind of create that animosity too, which is cool. If that's your thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
It is. See, very much so.
I'm very much controversial. No.
Russell,
controversy is my name.
Who you got?
All right, so I had thought about this topic last week or 2 weeks ago, and I had, like, to Johnny's point when he kind of talked about it in the beginning, I had like many different ways I could have looked at it. My original thought was, and I'm just going to go through some honorable mentions. My original thought was the 2018 LeBron or 2007 LeBron, just the idea of a guy getting you all the way to the finals, putting the team on your back, even though they're clearly not the best team in the league. Right. But there's guys that have won the championship doing this somehow. I think there's some honorable mention. So I think Jokic deserves to be in this conversation. I know how crazy that sounds because everybody looks at his team, and I feel like there's going to be a couple where you think about his team and you're like, oh, yes, Jamal Murray, whatever. But at the end of the day, a triple-double and to win the finals, no one's ever come close to these numbers in this conversation, right? And that's the other part of this where it's like, what's the difference between a great carry job and just like a great overall finals run? Because one could say Kawhi Leonard's 2019 with the Raptors too. Like, that's definitely something but he had a pretty good team. Like, you know what I mean? Is that necessarily a carry job? So
I have a hard time giving a guy the carry, like, as great as he is. Like, I would say Jokic, like, my vernacular would be Jokic led the team with like a legendary playoff run. Yeah. But you're not giving the second in command who averaged 26 points per game over these playoffs enough credit if you were just to say Jokic carried. You know what I'm saying? Sure. That's how I see it.
That's how we get to him being an honorable mention. Continuing. I also looked at the 2003 San Antonio Spurs because this is a team that when you look at the roster, you go, oh, they had Parker, they had Ginobili, they still had a David Robinson, even though he was really old. Like, this is a stack. They had Stacked Jack. They had a stacked roster, no pun intended. But when you look at the playoffs, all these guys shot near 30%.
It's fair.
Or near 40, like sub 40%. Really poor shooting percentages. And it showed out in the playoffs. And none of that mattered because Tim Duncan still put the team on his back and got them to the playoffs with 25, 15, and 5 assists. And he closed it out with a near quadruple double. So that was really, really close for me. But there is only one guy who has won the championship with no all-stars on his team. There's only one. And that is the great Hakeem Olajuwon, who carried a 6-seeded Houston Rockets team and really turned it up in the playoffs. He goes from 27.8 in the regular season, 27.8 in 10, which is great numbers, 3.5 blocks, all the way to 33 per game, shooting 53%, still staying efficient. People always look at Clyde Drexler like, oh, that was a big piece that helped them get to the championship. And they're definitely right, but there's no way they get there without the work the team put in. And to see him turn up from a regular season where he's 5th in MVP voting, but I think that's only because of his standing. I think from a statistical standpoint, this is an MVP season.
Yeah,
and this is his famous, he smacked David Robinson up. He put people in the woodshed this season in this playoff run. And there you go, fans. I'm wearing a jersey of someone I'm representing this time. That's for you guys.
I had Hakeem Olajuwon top 3. So I mean, I like this big, but you could honestly argue Hakeem Olajuwon in 1994, because like I could see it either way, 94, 95, but 94 he doesn't even have Clyde Drexler. Now he does have a pretty deep team in 94, at least he has a good supporting cast, but you'd still like a second star to help fill out this roster. Like Kenny Smith was one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Robert Horry was never better than when he was with the Houston Rockets. Otis Thorpe could obviously put it in. Vernon Maxwell, good defensive player, but again, no second cut. There is no guy who is anywhere close to being described as a star. Mario Elie was a great shooter as well. So he had talent, but again, kind of the one-man show from a star standpoint. Yeah. So I got a couple other honorable mentions. Like you said, one guy that probably has to be mentioned, 2001 Allen Iverson. For me, carried offensively, worth a mention. But defensively, he had other guys that were helping with that. George Lynch, Dikembe Mutombo, who they had for the second half of the season, ended up being the defensive player of the year. Even Eric Snow was a pretty good defensive player as well. And so, although I'll recognize AI for his offensive standing, he only gets honorable for me because defensively, he had a lot of help, to say the least.
Yeah.
06 Kobe, first round, 35 points per game while being first team all defense. So, I mean, obviously you have to recognize that. Yes, they did blow the 3-1 lead to the heavily favored Phoenix Suns, but even just getting him to there in the first place when you had a rotation of starters that were either Kwame Brown or Chris Mim at the center position, Smush Parker at the point guard. I love Luke Walton, for what he was for our Lakers, but he was not that great of a player. And they wanted Lamar Odom, who eventually had an impact as a sixth man for the championship team. They wanted him to be Kobe, Scottie Pippen. But again, it is just a first-round exit, so honorable mention for Kobe. Of course, you guys mentioned 2018 LeBron. Yeah. 1975, Rick Barry. Carried the Golden State Warriors pretty hard. He didn't have a tremendous, overwhelming amount of talent, but he did have the Rookie of the Year in Jamal Wilkes. They ended up sweeping Washington 4 games in the NBA Finals. And highest career scoring average in finals history of any player is Rick Barry, actually. And so not for that single series, but for a career in the finals, Rick Barry's number 1 all time. And those are some of the ones I got to mention. Now, one of the obvious ones that has to be mentioned is Wilt Chamberlain in 1962. And you might be like, oh, okay, well, he averaged, 50 points and he averaged 25 rebounds and Johnny's just obsessing over stats. Well, yeah, but the stats go deeper than this. This team ended up winning 49 games, okay? And it was an 80-game season back then, so that's the equivalent of a 50-win season. And on top of that, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points per game in 1962, so field goal percentages generally were much lower. He averaged 50 points per game on 50.6% shooting. Look at the shooting percentages of the rest of the team. Wilt shot 50.6%. I did the math. The rest of the team shot 40.2%. To help put that in perspective, Wilt Chamberlain on the roster, his Warriors had the second best field goal percentage in the entire league. When he was off, they were dead last by far. No. So you can't tell me a guy who's that efficient, averaging 50, is not good for the team when that's the efficiency of the guys on his team. Maybe they had a hard time getting in the flow because, again, the offense was you could make those. I know, I can tell Dario already wants to make those arguments. But, and it's not like he didn't have any help. But again, when the league is condensed to anywhere between 8 to 10 teams, of course there's going to be a little bit more talent, Yeah. But for me, Number one, my guy, it's got to be 1988 Michael Jordan. And it's not just because it's MJ. Like, this season, let alone, is in the argument for the greatest individual season in NBA history. Led the league in scoring, 35 points per game. Efficiency was stupid for a shooting guard, 53.5%. Okay? 6 assists, 5.5 rebounds. He was also the defensive player of the year. He was first in basically player efficiency rating by far. So this season was incredible. They ended up winning 50 games. The team's second leading scorer was Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley is not, he's an enforcer. He's not known to be a scorer. He's not a good scorer, but he's second on this team. Sam Vincent technically doesn't qualify.
No, he didn't play that long.
Yeah.
I got it.
Right. But if you take the offensive production of the second guy, the third guy, and the fourth guy, they still don't add up to how much Jordan was scoring while shooting about 54% from the field, which is just ridiculous. On top of that,
Scotty on the bench.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's one of the reasons why people don't look at this and think that it's a great carry job, is because when you look at Basketball Reference without the context, there's things you're missing. You see John Paxson, you see Horace Grant, you see Scottie Pippen. These guys were just starting their careers. None of them were regular starters. The guy who's
you get that.
Yeah, exactly. These guys were not those guys yet. The guys you were looking at who were starting were the Oakleys, the Dave Corzines, the Brad Sellers, like those types of guys.
Yep.
And so then you get to the playoffs. You already have a team that wasn't supposed to win 50 games, wins 50 games. What does Michael Jordan do in the first round against a talented Cleveland Cavaliers team? Okay. With Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, all those guys. He averages 45 points.
Yeah.
In a series that went to 5 games, best of 5 series. And on top of that, he's stupid efficient, hitting 56% of his shots. Like
insane.
He
said, I'm not taking any threes. Forget the 3-point line. We're attacking.
And again, the closest guy to him again was Charles Oakley, averaging 10.8. And if you go and you look at the game, like a game-by-game basis, all of these points, all of this from Jordan, they needed it. Because they ended up winning the 5th and deciding game by 6 points.
It's really easy math, too, because at 102, 45, you can basically say he averaged 45% of the team's points.
Yeah.
Pretty much say that.
Yep. A little less, but yes, damn close.
You get my point.
And while still playing elite defense, you know?
Yep.
Elite defense.
And so for me, this one's ridiculous. I mean, they only had a nine-man rotation, obviously, in the playoffs. And that's the thing. If you look at their roster, you know, you see that Pippen, Grant, Paxson, but those weren't those guys yet. You even see Artis Gilmore, but they traded him mid-season because he was playing 15 minutes a game, averaging 4 points and 3 rebounds. Like that was 38-year-old Artis Gilmore. That was not making the all-time Bulls Artis Gilmore, you know?
No.
And so, I don't think this season gets enough credit because I think most people don't understand like the context of it and just see the names on Basketball Reference.
And what seed did they get to? They got to, well, that's the second in the
The 3 seed. The 3 seed in the Eastern Conference in the late 80s. Like the same conference that has the Pistons and the Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers with Dr. J and Moses Malone and Charles Barkley. Like that more stacked conference. They got to a 3 seed, dude. That's wild.
Yeah.